And welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of March 18th. As I stated last week, for those that watched last week's material, I've found a group of several hundred great questions that our attendees at the production retreat in late January in Las Vegas submitted. I put them in a briefcase. I put the briefcase in one part of my office. I lost them mentally. I found them. I'm reviewing them last week, this week, and for the next couple of weeks. These are great questions submitted by the audience during a seminar. So I'm going to continue with these. The first one is kind of a fun question, okay? Mike, I'm a new realtor, and I'm out working every day, and I'm going on presentations, and often they're not confident that I can get the home sold because I'm a new realtor. And aside from stating you have my full attention when you list with me, 100% of my attention is going to be on getting your listing sold, and my broker is going to give us full support in getting your property sold. What else can I say on a listing presentation as a newer realtor? Well, quite honestly, it's not just the fact that you're a new realtor. It's the fact that you're probably not expressing in your presentation a lot of confidence in yourself at this point, which means we have realtors been in the business 3, 4, 5, 10 years that are in the same position on a listing presentation. They don't have the confidence to express to a seller that the seller should list with them versus anybody else. So I think the first thing I would suggest to those of you that are newer, the natural path for a newer realtor is to work with buyers. Understandable, natural, normal. However, the trouble with working with buyers is if you don't commit time to learning how to list property, the odds of ever being a substantial producer are minimal. Why? Because, and you've heard me say this in the past, put a buyer in the car, and a buyer will buy the house because of the home you show them. Go to a seller's house, the seller is evaluating you as a person, you as a salesperson, evaluating your company, evaluating your presentation, evaluating what you can do to get the home sold. So a buyer buys because of the house, a seller lists because of the strength of the listing agent and their presentation. How strong are you in presenting? So what I'm suggesting is that you spend a good portion of every day practicing and rehearsing live listing presentations, either in front of a camera, in front of the mirror, in front of another agent in the office. You've got to develop the strength because, see, the truth is we have agents all over North America, been in the business 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, taking listings because they've learned what to say, and they say it with so much conviction and strength that the seller never even knows. Now, why would a seller say to an agent, gosh, you must be new, how long in the business? They only say it for one reason. You've not displayed any confidence in yourself at this point. So, yes, you have my attention, full attention, 100% of the time. I have really nothing to do but work to get your home sold, and my broker supports it 100%. That statement has to be made because you have not displayed the confidence. Knowledge equals confidence, ignorance equals fear. Work on the knowledge, which will build the confidence. Question 2. Fun question. Why do you encourage agents to focus on the number of transactions they do annually versus focusing on increasing their price point? Isn't there more profit and a higher income from high price points? Maybe. Maybe. Now, why do I say maybe? Well, I have some experience of this. I have seen over the years agents jump price point, price point, price point. Let's say your average sales price in your area is $300. Agents will say, I want to move into the $600,000 to $800,000 price point. Great. Here's the first thing you have to do. You have to look at your marketplace like a pyramid. As the price points increase, the number of transactions decrease. As the price point increases, the number of potential buyers decreases. Now, yes, 5 or 6% of $1 million is certainly more substantial than 5 to 6% of 300,000. However, the marketing costs on $1 million house, if that's a big expensive home in your area, are substantially higher than the marketing costs on a property that sells for 300,000. The expectations of the seller are totally different. And the commissions are more apt to be negotiated down on high prices than negotiated down on lower price homes. So why do we encourage agents to focus on the number of transactions? It's for one simple reason. It's a measurable item that you can track and follow. If you're measuring your gross commission income or you're measuring your gross sales volume, it's much more harder to measure that because you could by mistake do a big transaction to throw everything off balance. You measure your business by the number of deals you do. Question 3, how do I keep laser focus on lead generation, prospecting, when I see other agents in the office having success with social media? Should I make it part of my sales and marketing plan? Well, I think we have to define what those agents are doing. What are those agents doing in terms of social media? Okay. Now, are they doing webinars for prospects? Could be. Do they have a blog that they're sending out in a mass type of operation to the public in your area? Could be. Do they have all of their database in their Facebook account and they keep contact with their database through Facebook? Could be. I really question this person's question. And I question it because social media is one of 61 methods of prospecting to find a listing. So what we have to look at is what are the 4 or 5 methods you're using to get listings? Do you have 4 or 5 good, valid methods you're using on a regular basis? If you have 4 or 5 methods, could social media be one of them? Yes. But if you make it the only one, guess what? You're probably going to suffer. Question 4, can you give me some indication of how many contacts per day and how many contacts per hour the big superstar producers make? Well, it always depends on whether they're operating as an individual agent or with a small team or with a large team. Now, the reason I say that is the larger the team, most often they're not prospecting at all. Here's the agent. He's got 5, 10, 15 people on his team. He's relying on the production of those to produce his income. Here's an agent that has 1 assistant, 1 buyer's agent. He is producing listings, and those listing leads that come on potential buyers go to the showing agent. It's 2 different methodologies of doing business. However, when I talk to people like a John Ames and a Josh Barker and Bernie Gallerini and Regina Drury and some of these wonderful agents that I coach personally, they're going to be making any place from, say, 15 to 25 contacts a day. Most of those will be within their database because that's where they generate a lot of their business. And they're going to make about 10 contacts per hour. Calling a by owner, a database, a just listed, an expired listing. If you follow the script, you'll make about 10 contacts per hour. Question 5. You state all the time, Mike, to never take rejection personally from people you do not know. How do you handle rejection from people you do know? It's a great question. All right. Everybody worries about rejection in the sales industry. Whatever the sales product or service is, people worry about rejection. And of course, I say to myself all the time, selling is a numbers game, period. I have to talk to a lot of people, whatever the product is, whatever the service is, to get somebody to buy it. If you're in a retail store over here and people are flowing in, not everybody buys. Some flow in, flow around, and flow back out without a sale. Only a little percentage actually buy the product or service. If you're in direct sales, which is real estate, you're going to be talking to 5, 10, 15, 20 people a day to look for the one that wants to buy or sell a piece of real estate. So what we have to look at is this thought. Most people are not rejecting you to hurt your feelings. They just don't have an interest in what you're saying, selling at that moment. And they have a right not to have an interest in what you're saying or what you're selling at that moment. Whether you know them or don't know them, they have that right. So the answer is, how do you handle rejection from people you do know? Is you smile and say, well, thanks for sharing your thoughts with me. And you call the next one, because it is always going to be a numbers game. And as long as you keep that thought in mind, you're going to win the game all the time. Question number 6, regarding mindset. When you start to feel dragged back by the thoughts of fear or the fear of failure, what is the best way to reset your mindset and move forward? I've said for years, we all deal with that problem. It's normal. It's human nature. Don't beat yourself up because, you have moments of not being excited about the work that you do. It's human nature. However, I tell people all the time, you should be taking 3 or 4 10 to 15 minute mindset breaks per day. Let's say you get to the office at 8, 9:30, quarter to 10, take a 10, 15 minute mindset break. Maybe you should go to our vault and listen to one of the recordings in the vault. They're 15 minutes long to recharge your head. You have a couple books you're reading. Read 3 or 4 pages of the book. Okay? You have access through your phone or your iPad to an inspirational message on YouTube or one of the messages we produce. 3 or 4 times a day, you recharge yourself. It's human nature. Also, 2 or 3 times a day, you get up and you walk outside and you breathe some fresh air and you have a glass of juice, you have a piece of fruit. You call one of your best clients, because your best clients are always positive and happy. Take positive steps to get positive results. You can do it. Thanks for these questions. We'll continue this next week. It is now the middle of March. It is time to get going and get moving and stop talking about the market. It's time to go do something about the market. See you next week.